guys have a great week.
Oh, man. What great lessons. You know, a lot of us, I can tell you, I'm one of the people who would tell you, I like to make decisions because I can logically figure it out. I can put a plan together. I can see, because it makes sense, that this is going to be the decision I should make. But let me tell you that what I've learned in my life is that the greatest things that I've seen happen in my life, it doesn't mean I forget plans, but I seek out what God says, and I care more about what He says than even what I feel or just the logic that I think I have. God desperately wants all of us to follow Him, and it's not just because He wants us to do certain things. It's because He wants us to be a part of what He is doing. He wants us to grow in our intimacy with Him. And I hope that in this message, hearing about taking steps of faith, I just want to tell you personally that part of my life, taking steps of faith towards God, it has transformed me. There's no greater joy than to experiencing God's work in my life. And it's not because I'm great. It's not because I've done it all right either. And I think one of the big fears is, if I say that I'm going to believe this, if I say that God is in this, if I follow with my whole heart, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to look foolish. But instead to say, you know what, I'd rather look foolish trying to follow God than try and be wise doing it on my own. And there's something so deeply powerful about that when we embrace that. Because what we're saying is that I care more about what God says about me than anybody else. And what He says matters. Because what He says actually has an impact in my life. And what God says, I want you to hear this. What God says about you is that you are deeply loved. There is nobody that will love you as deeply as God loves you. And He knows you better than anybody else. You don't have to hide from Him. In fact, you can't hide from Him. He knows who you are. He knows all your failures. He knows all your regrets. He knows every mistake. He knows your flaws. And He says, I see you and I love you. Do you want to trust me? Today, if you've never said yes to that question, if you've never said, I'm ready to trust you, Jesus, you can take your first and most powerful step of faith right now. And what that means is to say, God, I do choose to trust you. I choose to trust that when you say that you died for all of my sins, that you've actually covered it all. I trust that when you say that I'm invited to be part of your family, that I get to be your child. I trust that when you say that you love me, that it is complete and covering. And if you're ready to accept that, your life will be transformed right here. It's not a magical prayer. It's not special words. What it is from your heart to God's. Right now in your chair, you can do that. You can say, God, I need you. I want your truth to be the truth that I follow and I trust in the rest of my life. I want you to be the leader of my life. And if you're making that decision right now, from your heart to God right now, let me tell you, you are transformed. You are now part of the family of God. You are part of His eternal family. Nothing can take you out of His hands. You are forever His. You are my brother. You're my sister. We are family. So I want to do something, everyone together. Let's go pull out our connection cards. Everybody, let's pull this out. I believe that today God has something that He's put on your heart. Maybe it was to make that decision. If you made that decision today, check that first box because I want to give you some tools and resources. I want to celebrate with you. But I think that even for others who have made that decision before, there's something that God has placed on your heart that you're feeling, I haven't been ready to take that step of faith. I don't know if God is going to be faithful. I don't know if I can make that step. And if you are saying today, I want to live in faith, I want to take that step, then go ahead and you can just say, I'm taking a step this week. And I will be praying for you. If you want to tell me what that step is, I will pray specifically for that step. You don't have to tell me, but if you're taking a step, just write down, I'm taking a step of faith this week. And I will pray for you. Because we are a family and we get to do this journey together. God is for us. He's not against us. We have an incredible God, and there is power in who He is and what He's called us to. And it's when we finally say, God, I accept who you say I am, and I will live in that declaration, is when we see God's transforming work in our lives. In a moment, we're going to have the baskets come around, and you can drop this in there. If you need prayer afterwards, we'll have people praying. But what we're going to do right now, I want to do something. We're going to stand, and what we're going to do is declare that we choose to believe what God says about us. Not what our fears tell us, not what the world tells us, not what those doubters say about us. We're going to choose to say what God says about us is true. And as we declare it, as we sing it, let it be a prayer to God that we accept what he says about us. Let's stand and sing.